All right, I'm going to get started. We have a couple more people joining. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Bishop O'Dowd. My name is Karen Pincus Gallagher, and I am the Director of Admissions here at Bishop O'Dowd. And I am so excited to welcome you to our very first and hopefully only virtual open house, because we would much rather have you on our beautiful campus, welcoming you through our theater doors, greeting you in person. But we are going to do our very best today to make this event meaningful and purposeful. And so we want to welcome you to our open house. Before I go any further, I really want to introduce you to my amazing colleagues and team, admissions team. I think some of you have probably spoken to Trisha Bevilacqua on the phone. Some of you have seen Mrs. Bruin on our virtual visits. I recognize so many of you who are joining us today from all of our virtual visits, and so many students and familiar names. It's really wonderful to see you all, and hopefully you get a lot out of the session. Trisha, would you like to say hi to everybody?
Hello, everyone. I'm Trisha Bevilacqua. I'm the admissions associate. I mainly help you with anything regarding transcripts or recommendations, in-person tours. I look forward to working with you and your families during the admission season.
Moray, go for it.
Hi, everyone. I'm Moray Bruin, and I'm the Associate Director of Admissions. And Karen and I go about it all the time, battling who has the best job at O'Dowd. And I think I win hands down all the time. I absolutely love the work I get to do in the admissions office. We do so many different things, but probably my most favorite part of my job is working with our Dragon Ambassador program. Our Dragon Ambassadors are our student leaders. I have about 400 students that volunteer their time to help me out in the admissions office. And they do that because they absolutely love O'Dowd and they love sharing their story with families just like you. They want to connect with our applicants. They want to be able to answer questions. They want to be able to share what they love about O'Dowd and also what challenges they've had on their journey at O'Dowd. And I'm super excited to say we have some of our ambassadors that are going to be zooming in with us this evening to listen to what you have to say, to answer your questions, and to share their insight with you. So I'm looking forward to that a little bit later, and I'll pass it back to Karen.
Great, thank you so much, Moray. We have a fun program for you. You will get to meet both our president and principal this afternoon. And then we have some student panelists. And of course, I have some information to share with you, as well as our debut of our virtual tour. We're so upset that we can't have you on campus to really visit all of our classrooms and check out our theater and our gyms and our living lab, but you will get a sense of what our campus is like today. And that is the purpose of it. We're going to begin with a prayer from our president, President J.D. Childs. And O'Dowd, as you all know, is a Catholic school, and we are about 50% Catholic, 50% non-Catholic. But part of our Catholic values are expressed through caring and love and kindness and social justice. And that is why every morning we begin the day, whether we are on campus virtually or on campus in reality, with a prayer that grounds our community to begin our day in a moment of quiet, a moment of reflection. And so I turn this over to our President, J.D. Childs, who is going to share a prayer and some welcome thoughts with all of you.
Thank you, Karen. It's so great to see you all, even though you're on very small little squares at the top of my screen today. But I get to see your names and I get to see your faces, and I'm so excited to see you on campus. Coming up, hopefully this spring. So let's pause. We'll begin with a prayer this afternoon. If you join me, and we'll take a couple of deep cleansing breaths. Just center ourselves. Dearest Lord, in the midst of the pace and the frenzy and sometimes even the anxiety, we forget to stop and give thanks for all that you provide for us. We ask for your continued blessings on our country, blessings of peace and inclusion. We ask for your continued blessings on our city as we come together to support our community members. And we ask for your blessings on our school. We are in the process of discerning, both as a school, but also as parents and students, about the high school choice, about where do I see myself in these next 4 years? Where am I going to take these necessary next steps in my personal journey? And so we ask for you to put into our hearts a joy, a passion, and enthusiasm for our students, for our kids, to support them in these steps, to support them in this journey, this discovery of self, this standing on their own 2 feet and discovering their authentic voice. We always ask you to help us to be faces of love and kindness for those we encounter. And we ask for you to be present in a special way with all of those who are sick or suffering or experience any anxiety in their lives right now. We ask this in God's good name. Amen. Thank you, everybody, for joining with me in prayer this afternoon. It's great to get to sort of send a shout out up above before we send a shout out to all of you at your houses. We're really pleased to have you. My role this morning, or this afternoon rather, is to really help to articulate some of our institutional priorities. What are we about sort of big picture at O'Dowd these days, and how does that manifest itself more particularly? So let me just reflect with you all about kind of what we're thinking about in terms of who we are and where we're headed at O'Dowd these days. We are culminating a strategic planning process, our accreditation process, and some of these priorities align with those action steps that we've come to by consensus from insight from our faculty and staff, from our parent audience, from our students. And the first really is to continue to commit to innovation in curriculum and instruction, specifically to see and to serve every student in terms of our curriculum and instruction, to see and to serve every student. So it's not just about content delivery. It's about engagement. It's about the students who come to O'Dowd. Students come fully equipped with everything that they need in order to really learn about their authentic lives. And so our job is to facilitate that voyage of self, that discovery. And we do that in our classrooms. We do that through our co-curriculars. All of these points of discovery and engagement and inspiration that allow our kids to get excited about what they're learning, but more deeply who they're becoming. This is really the voyage. The discovery of self is really the adolescent voyage, and learning to speak with one's authentic voice. That's really the outcome that we desire. That's really our first priority: seeing and serving every student through curriculum and instruction innovation. Specifically this year, because of the pandemic, where that strategic initiative has really focused on, how are we providing learning continuity for our students? How are we providing health and safety for our students and our teachers? And how are we really promoting student engagement during a time when we're all remote, when we're all not in the classroom together as we'd so desire? And we're starting to see that our campus reopening plan is underway. We had started with our co-curriculars with athletic training this last week, and co-curriculars this week and next. So we'll continue to see that opening, that reopening, and that engagement for our students in the time to come. Our second big strategic initiative is really about a deepening and a discovery of how we enact our charism. So as Karen pointed out, we're a Catholic school, and we have what's called our charism. The charism is a set of, it's like a spiritual personality, right? It's like who we are in a spiritual kind of a way. And really, some people would call our charism like a set of core values, a set of deep fundamental commitments that we enact here at O'Dowd. And this year, because of the events this summer, our focus is really on racial reckoning, really on racial justice. We have a very diverse student body here at O'Dowd, and about 5 years ago, we knew that we needed to move beyond the numbers, as it were, right? Like, it's not just enough to have a lot of different kind of people on campus. It's really much more about how are we creating in our structures, in our systems, in our curriculum, opportunities that are more equitable, opportunities that are more inclusive. And so we started with some DEI work that was on campus, and increasingly that DEI work has gotten more intentional and has gathered more momentum. But it's definitely the case that this last summer, particularly with the murder of George Floyd and the national outcry for justice that ensued, that O'Dowd made a deeper commitment than ever before, a public commitment. We instituted a new position on campus, a position called Director of Equity and Belonging, and a committee through our board that would promote the kind of institutional accountability around racial justice that we see as so critical. It's so vital for there to be opportunities for all of our students on campus. We know that if we are specifically pursuing anti-racist strategies and pursuing opportunities for our Black students, our students of color, that's going to benefit us, all of our student body, but it's going to benefit us institutionally for the long run. So later this week, you'll have the opportunity to go hear Patrice Wakely, our Director of Equity and Belonging. So check out Patrice and ask her questions in that regard. Our third institutional priority is really about resource development in order to fulfill our mission. So any school or any organization, you always want to have volunteer engagement, you want to have dollars, you want to have personnel, and you want to have facilities that are right, that are fitting, that uniquely move you forward in order to accomplish what you want to do in terms of your values. And so later this week, Megan O'Leary, who's the president of our parent association, she and our development director, Rebecca Bischoff, are doing a session on philanthropy and parent engagement. So that might be something to check out. In terms of cultivating dollars, philanthropic dollars, Bishop O'Dowd, we set our tuition actually at a rate that's less than what it costs us to educate every student. Some people would say, well, that's not a very effective business model, that you're not charging enough to pay all of your bills. But what we are committed to on an annual basis is to invite families who can to participate in the parent pledge and to make up that gap so that we remain committed to holding tuition as much as possible and keeping tuition as affordable as possible. We give a lot of tuition assistance to provide an affordability bridge for about a third of our families on an annual basis, about $3.5 million annually. Of course, during COVID, because folks have lost jobs or had reduced income, we've expanded and issued an additional $600,000 to support families during this time. And that money, we're reliant on philanthropy from families in order to make our budget, in order to meet those needs. Not just for tuition assistance, of course, but for our curricular and co-curricular programs as well. So certainly being a community that invites philanthropy and that invites everyone to to give and to give generously. That's part of our DNA. It's part of our culture. Of course, our key resource is our teachers and our students, right? And that's where the magic happens. It's really in that engagement of our students by our teachers that students have the best kind of experience through high school. There's lots of other things that add to that experience and enhance that experience, but fundamentally it's that engagement with the teachers and the students. And so we always are recruiting and attracting and recruiting and retaining the best teachers for our student body. We're committed to a faculty and staff that reflects the diversity of our student body, and we're intentional in how we go about attaining that, enacting that. We want teachers who are committed to engaging our students, informing their imaginations, inspiring them, not just equipping them academically, but really firing them up to be really authentic learners and givers in the world. And finally, we want teachers who are committed to our charism values. We want teachers who realize that the best learning occurs in a values-based context. That's something that's unique to O'Dowd and something that we continue to be intentional about. And finally, I just say in terms of resource development, facilities are critically important to us. And we offer a campus that's clean, well lit, well maintained, but also we have some about 7 years ago we added the Center for Environmental Studies. We have a 4-acre living lab that's a very distinctive space, and breaking ground this March on a new 38,000 square foot building that will effectively plug in like Legos to the back of the small and large gym. It will have a new drama instructional space like a black box theater. It'll have a music instructional space with ensemble rooms that'll be digitally wired so that students can record and engage with online audiences in their performances. It'll have athletic training facility and sports management facility. It'll have a new court, 1,300 seat court, so that all of our students and faculty and staff can all gather at the same place at the same time for all of the things that are really kind of culturally exciting and unique about O'Dowd, not just our masses, our liturgies when we come to pray together, but also our spirit rallies, also our health and wellness assemblies, our BSU, our multicultural assemblies, all of those expressions of student joy, student talent that are really exciting. We have not had a place on campus for some time where we could all gather together. And that gathering, that sense of identity that you get, that we're doing something together at O'Dowd that's unique and distinctive, that's something that we're very excited to enact with this new project. So those are our institutional priorities. I'm always excited for you to engage with me, to send me an email, and meet when we can on campus. I'm so excited to meet you all. But thanks so much for being here today for the live portion of this, so that we could just acknowledge the gift that you all are to all of us. So thank you very much. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to our principal, the guy who's really in charge of our school and making it all happen, the guy with the best name in education, Dr. Chris Smart.
Thank you, Mr. Childs. Good afternoon to you all, and thank you so much for being here today. I have the great privilege of being the principal here at Bishop O'Dowd. This is my second year at O'Dowd, my 34th year as a professional educator, and I come before you with great humility and great appreciation. There are many things that I could talk to you about. I could talk about our 1,250 students, our 165 staff, our 25 AP and honors courses, our 26 athletic teams, But you're going to hear about those specifics from a myriad of people over the next week, and they can do it much better than I can. What I want to briefly talk to you about, and it is a little bit of a reinforcement of a couple of things that Mr. Child reported out on, but I want to talk to you a little bit about what our purpose is and then how we carry out that purpose. Our purpose is found in our mission statement. And Bishop O'Dowd High School is a Catholic college prep. We're here to help you to get to college, guided by the teachings and the person of Jesus Christ, and that we educate a very diverse student body, a student body of diversity in race, in gender, in socioeconomic, in interest, in religious and spiritual background. And we try to build through this educational structure a more just, joyful, and spiritual sustainable world. Mr. Childs mentioned our charism. Our charism is really how we carry out our mission. And this charism really has at its core 6 core values that help us to find God in all things. That's our charism, to recognize the divine, to recognize that there's this spark in this world, that we did not come from nothing and we're not going to nothing. And so that charism, community and diversity, strength of character, academic excellence, kinship of creation, social justice, and joy. And I briefly just want to touch upon that in a descriptive and prescriptive way. Our community. That's what you're going to hear everything about at O'Dowd. What a great community we have. When our alums come back, when they talk about what is most important at O'Dowd, they talk about these spiritual values. We don't have a single narrative here at O'Dowd. We encourage and we facilitate interaction between and among peoples of very different background. Our diversity is what unites us. Our unity then promotes that diversity, not just here at O'Dowd, but in our community. You see that take place in our Dragon Talks. We just had 2 student-led talks, both before the election and after the election, to give us a chance to talk as a community. What were we thinking? What were we feeling? What were our needs in that regard? We have a racial justice task force, a gender justice task force. We have curriculum training for our faculty in terms of the areas of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We're a community that comes together to build upon our strengths. Strength of character, what do we want to do there? We want to educate the whole person. Education doesn't just happen in the classroom, it happens on the stage, it happens on retreat, it happens in athletic events, it happens in our living lab, okay? And what we try to do through the education of the whole person is to help students form and inform their conscience, that voice that leads them to make good moral and ethical choices. Of course, as an educational institution, as a college prep school, we want to focus on academic excellence. We want to cultivate an environment for wisdom, understanding, counsel, and knowledge. We seek what's called the magis, this end which serves the common good, that we choose to do what is best because it serves not just our needs, but the needs of our entire community, the needs of our town, the needs of our state and of our nation and our world. Kinship with creation is another one of our core values. We are leaders in ecological education in our state and in our nation. And what we want to do through that is we want to convert minds and hearts to build solidarity, responsibility, and compassion and care for our world, for our earth, for our home. We have, in the words of Pope Francis, an integral ecology where we're not only responding to the cries of the earth, but also to the cries of the poor, to those who are less fortunate. And we do it through a wonderful sustainability program. We have a Platinum LEED certified center for environmental studies in our living lab, the only one in the country that we have where students and staff can come together and engage in preserving and expanding our experience with the earth. Social justice is a big part of what we do. We want to read the signs of the times, and we realize that we need to serve the greater community. And so we have an extensive service program captivated by our Anna Weem project at the junior and senior year, which is in collaboration with our Peace and Justice course. And finally, we want to create a community of joy. Joy is more than just happiness. Joy is being fulfilled as humans, as young people, and as adults, and we serve the common good in that. It's a positive energy. If you were ever been here in the morning when school starts and seeing the students just pack into the entryway into Hurley Hall. We can't do that right now because of social distancing, but that speaks to the joy at O'Dowd. When you come to an athletic event, a co-curricular, when you come and work in the Living Lab on the weekend, if you ever come to O'Dowd and take part in the night rally, those are all things that bring joy to us, happiness, but also it inspires us to serve and to carry that to our greater community. That joy is also cultivated in the classrooms and in all the other places that we do education here at O'Dowd. That is really what's at the core of O'Dowd. These are the things that make us special, our mission and our core values. I invite you to experience those in the best way that you can during this week and through your communication with others here at O'Dowd, adults, students as well. I encourage you to really listen to our student ambassadors. They are great advocates for our school, and they can share with you their experiences. This is O'Dowd. Thank you for making the time to see what we are about. And Ms. Pincus, I turn it back over to you. Thank you.
So much. Thanks, Dr. Smart. Thank you, JD Childs. We really appreciate you joining us today. We have a full program, and really the goal of today is to give you a little introduction and a little welcome. There is so much planned this week that I'm not going to go into detail about specific academics or counseling. Some of you have already tuned into my information session for that, but I encourage you to visit the various Zoom sessions that we've set up this week so that you can meet our faculty, meet our staff, meet our college counseling department and our counseling department, as well as academic support. If you have questions about our Learning Differences program, if you're curious about financial aid, there's so much to tap into. But I really want to get you guys excited about campus. And the goal of right now is to see our campus. We're so sorry we can't be with you. So Moray, let's show our movie. And hopefully it works. We've been practicing.
When I first get to O'Dowd in the morning, I just see the sun shining on the O'Dowd quad. It just brings me peace and it gets me excited because I know I have a great day ahead of me. I really just feel at home. It's a very welcoming community and it feels like it's its own city. There's always something going on in O'Dowd. Sometimes I'll just take a walk around campus and really just take in what our campus has to offer.
Walking down the hallways and seeing your teachers waving at you from their classroom is just like a wonderful feeling, and you feel like you can do anything that you want to do. And the teachers make you feel that way just by always being there to support you and always being there to answer any questions you have.
The art classes at O'Dowd are an awesome way to express our creativity, and the teachers do an amazing job of helping you come out of your shell and explore the fun side of art.
I love walking into the library and seeing it filled with so many ambitious and hardworking students. The librarians there are passionate about what they do, and their positive energy makes O'Dowd's library amazing.
Stepping on the stage to perform, it's really kind of an out-of-body experience. We really learn how to just become this character, not act like this character, but become the character.
If you've never been to an O'Dowd game, then you're missing out on one of the best student sections in California.
School spirit is very important to us, and we support our teams no matter what during every single game.
running onto the field with the stands just packed with parents and students just all cheering for you is pretty amazing. And then even for JV and freshman games, there's a lot of spirit, and like you're on a team that's family at that point, and it's something spectacular every time. It's pretty powerful.
The Living Lab is a sustainable center, an outdoor classroom where students are able to connect with nature and the environment and learn about different animal species and plant species. And being able to work in a Living Lab is such an incredible experience because it allows me and other students to take a moment to focus on ourselves and the environment around us.
Taking classes in the Center for Environmental Studies is amazing. It's one of my favorite classroom buildings just because the building is so aesthetically pleasing. It has really nice lab equipment, and the view over the bay is amazing.
It is so important to feel like you are at home. It is so important to feel like you have the support and love from your peers, from those in your community, and walking into O'Dowd every day, every morning. I feel that support, and I'm so happy to be there.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope, we've been talking together for so long. I feel like so many of you that I'm seeing today have visited so many of our sessions. So I hope that gave you a sense of our school. It's about a 20-acre campus. And although it's large, it's actually really easy to get around. Everything is really centered around the quad, and you can go right or left, right to the gyms and the fields, left to the school side and our lab. So it's a really accessible campus and a community-driven campus where everything is centered in that central space. In a little bit, I'm going to open the chat so that you can ask questions. But before I do that, I do want to share some of the questions that I've been getting throughout the last few months. I know many of you have asked me, what's the criteria that you're looking for? How are you going to discern who you're going to be taking this year? Do you offer financial aid? Are there scholarships available? So I'm going to demystify all of that for you today. And of course, feel free to log in and out of the session. I know there are other things happening in your lives and we won't take it personally, but I'm going to get started and share a little bit of that information with you. All right. And for those of you who haven't seen this slide, I love this slide because it really does show our beautiful living lab. You saw a summer living lab where we have not had a whole lot of water and a whole lot of rain, but this is a very lush living lab after the rains, and hopefully we'll get some rain soon. I think that's beginning for sure. You've met our principal and our president. And I've spoken to you a lot about our AP and honors level classes and the offerings that we've shared. And both our principal and president spoke about our moral and character development and spiritual growth. And those are all key pieces. Really supporting the moral and spiritual growth of our students are all of the ways that we support our students who are doing the hard work and working with our teachers. We know that a successful student needs to feel socially and emotionally supported. They need to feel held. They need to feel that they have adults on campus that they can speak to. And so we have 8 full-time counselors. We have a full-time therapist. We have 3 dedicated members of academic support and many, many accessible teachers and coaches on campus who are really here to support our students. At O'Dowd, what makes it a really unique school is that we have so many resources. There are so many different paths that a student can take. You can be an incredibly academically driven student who wants to be challenged. You can be a student who wants to engage in the arts, a student who wants to engage in athletics, join a club, or do all of the above. And O'Dowd has a space and a place for you. So what are we looking for at O'Dowd? How do we admit students? And some of you have maybe seen this slide. I share this with all the students that I meet with every day and every morning. I get to meet with wonderful 8th graders who are interested in learning about O'Dowd, and I share this with them. We know that because we are a diverse community, and it is the first point in our charism, that in order for us to work together as a community, whether that's at lunchtime on the quad, whether it's on the basketball court or on the football field, or working in a volunteer project together in the living lab, or going on a science trip together to Belize or the Galapagos Islands, or just working in the classroom in a group, we need to have students who are going to be, number one, supportive of one another, who are positive, who are caring, and who are kind, and who are hardworking. High school's not always easy. There will be classes that will be challenging. There will be teachers that maybe we don't always gel with, and there will be teachers that we fall in love with. There will be clubs that we try and that we don't like, and other places that we thrive and excel. And through all of that, we are looking to build resiliency, and we're looking for students who want to engage in our community. I share this with students over and over again, that the most successful high school student is not the smartest student, but it is really the student who is willing to put themselves out there and get the support and help that they need through academic support, talk to a teacher when they're struggling, get their homework in on time and learn time management skills. Those are the character traits that will steer a student throughout their high school career and into college and beyond. And so we're looking very closely at a student's recommendation letters from their math teacher, English teacher, and history teacher, either English or history teacher, as well as counselor, principal, or advisor. Students are also welcome to submit a fourth recommendation letter. And that recommendation letter can be from a coach, from another teacher they've had, so a maximum of 4 letters. And then we will look closely at student grades in the 7th and 8th grade as well. We're really gonna pay close attention to grades before March. We know that when March hit, students were thrown into online learning, teachers had to adjust. So your grades prior to March will count a little bit more. And then of course, we wanna see how you're doing in the 8th grade. We are administering the HSPT test this year. That is the high school placement test. It will be online in January 9th. And in prior years, we really looked at that test closely. This year, this year, the test will carry far less weight than it has in prior years. So we will look more closely at recommendation letters and grades. And then really, I'm looking for some thought when you fill out the application. There are 4 questions that students should complete in the application process. And those questions don't need to be essay length responses. We're really looking for 1 to 2 paragraphs in length, and they should be well thought out. Do them in a Google Doc ahead of time, because once you put them into the application and you click submit, you cannot go back and redo your questions. Have someone proofread them, have someone look them over, but please students, let it be your own voice. We really want to understand who you are, what you love, what you don't love, what you enjoy doing, what your passions are. We know that you're just in 8th grade, and so we're not expecting you to have won many awards or have done thousands of hours of community service, but we're looking to see, do you have the kind of character that we think would do well at O'Dowd? Do you like engaging in school? Are you interested in joining co-curriculars? Are you interested in getting to know students of different races and ethnicities and religions? Are you willing to share your interests with our community? And so those are the sorts of things that we want to see come through when you complete the questions about yourself in the application. That's really, really important to us. And it will be a hard year to decide. It will not be an easy year. We definitely look at siblings and give some preference to siblings. Our goal is to make sure that we keep families together. And of course, that sibling has to meet our merit-based criteria. We don't just admit a sibling because they are a sibling. They've got to show that they can do the work and they can step up to the plate and be an O'Dowd student. We also do give preference to students who come from a Catholic school and who are Catholic. We must maintain that we are 50% Catholic. And we do welcome students of all races and ethnicities and religions. We have many students who participate in our school community who are not Catholic, who bring their own sense of self and religious identity to the community. We actually have an upcoming Thanksgiving liturgy, and in that liturgy, we invite students of different faiths to share how they are grateful and what they are grateful for. And so we welcome students to share and engage in that piece of it. So those are really the pieces that we're looking for. And it will be a hard year. If you have specific questions about admissions, I urge you to email me. You are welcome to set up a conversation with any of us in admissions, and we're happy to answer any questions that you have. The application process is a two-part process. Some of you probably filled out an inquiry form. Well, you must have, otherwise you wouldn't be here today. And then you filled out an application and you probably thought, am I filling out the inquiry form again? Our inquiry form and our application look very, very much alike. So no, you're filling out an inquiry form and then you're filling out a separate application. Everything that you need to know about O'Dowd can be found on our website. And the application piece of it is a two-part process. So you'll complete the first part of the application, and it's a pretty simple, probably 10-minute process. And then you'll pay the application fee. And I would like to note that if the application fee is cost prohibitive, please reach out to admissions and we will offer you a fee waiver. We never ever want to be want the cost of our application to be a hindrance to you applying to O'Dowd. So please do reach out to us if you need a fee waiver for the application. So you'll complete that first part, fill out the fee, and then you'll be directed back to your admissions portal. So save your username, save your password, get all of that in there, and you'll be directed back to a student portal or admissions portal. And in that portal, you will see your student questionnaire that you need to complete, your parent questionnaire that you need to complete. You can also send off recommendation letters to your recommenders electronically, as well as a transcript release form to your child's current middle school so that we can get your grades back. And then we really encourage you that if your student has a learning difference, that you upload any LD documentation, whether it's a neuropsych evaluation or a 504 plan or an IEP. It's really important that we get that information. The admissions process is not here to admit or not admit a student. It's really to find a student that's going to thrive at O'Dowd. And so every year we admit about 40 students who have learning differences. But we want to make sure that we can really serve those students who do have a learning difference. So we make accommodations for students, but we don't modify curriculum. I encourage you to join, I believe it's Juliet Arechiga. She will have a session on learning differences later on this week. Take a look at our program. So if you have specific questions about our LD program and how we serve students with mild learning differences, including dyslexia, dysgraphia, some working processing issues, please log into Juliet's session for questions about that. But it's really important that you disclose that information so that we can make sure that if your student is admitted, that we are there to help and serve them. We also have a financial aid program. As President J.D. Childs mentioned, about 30% of our students receive financial aid. It is all need-based. We do not offer athletic scholarships. That is a myth. Really, everyone who applies for financial aid is looked at, and it's a pretty in-depth process. We will open that application up in December, and it closes in February. If you have questions about financial aid, we are holding a financial aid session a little bit later on this week as well with Nancy McKinnon, who is our business manager, and I encourage you to join her session if you have questions or you just want to listen to what she has to say. And of course, if there is a complicated financial situation, whether you are a divorced family or your situation is a little bit different, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We meet with so many families of many different backgrounds who have different situations, and we are really here to help guide you through that process. So do not hesitate to reach out to that. So you'll complete that, all those items on that checklist. And we also want you to sign up separately for the HSPT. So if you go to the website, you can register for the HSPT. It will be online this year. And for some students, taking an online test can be a little tricky. So we are also hosting a workshop, which I believe is December 14th this year. It's hosted by Classroom Matters. If you are a student who may need a little extra help, you want to get a little bit more familiar with the HSPT test, I encourage you to join that workshop or get a book online, just so you can become familiar with the kinds of questions that you are asked. I get this question all the time. How is the HSPT different from the SSAT and the ISEE? The HSPT is a basic skills test. So we really are looking at your reading comprehension skills, your vocabulary. Can you complete a sentence with the correct grammar, spelling, and et cetera, and so forth. And then we're also looking at your pre-algebraic skills. So we really want students to come to ODOWD with a strong foundation in pre-algebra, because the first math class that you can take is an Algebra 1. Of course, if you've taken algebra, you've taken geometry, there are options to take math placement tests so that you can place beyond Algebra 1 and into a higher level math, but that happens after you're admitted. Every student is required to take a math placement test. So those are the sorts of things that we're really looking for and how you are going to go about completing the application. Here's some important dates and deadlines. Of course, everything is on the website. I will also share this presentation with you after the event. I'll add it to that Google Doc with lots of resources that I've been sharing with families. I will include this as well. So pay attention to some of those dates as well. December 12th is the HSPT workshop. So please log on and check that out, and you can register for that. At this time, I'm going to stop sharing my screen with all of you. And I see that our panelists are up, but I do want to take some questions. So I am going to open the chat a little bit and see if there are any questions that I can answer for anyone. I see that someone asked about a fourth letter of recommendation. And the fourth letter of recommendation is not from the advisor. It's really from a fourth person that may know your student in a different capacity. It can be another teacher from another grade. It can be a coach. It can be a music teacher, a drama teacher, any of those sorts of things. You're welcome to add a fourth recommendation. But we do require a letter of recommendation from a principal advisor or a counselor, any of those three, a math teacher and an English teacher. Those are the three requirements that we really ask for. And do we offer scholarships? We do not offer scholarships. What we do offer, I shouldn't say we don't offer scholarships. We offer one scholarship called the Presidential Scholarship. You cannot apply for that scholarship in advance. It's really determined in admissions. So if you are a stellar student, you exhibit some of the character traits that we're looking for, we determine that in admissions, and we offer about 25 of those scholarships every year to students who fit the criteria. And it's for, I believe it's about $12,000 in total over the course of 4 years. So that is the only scholarship that we offer. We do, people ask me about the courtesy deadline all the time. Why do you have a courtesy deadline? So we have the December courtesy deadline because the goal is to get as many applications in December so that we can begin processing those applications. And so we reduce the fee of the application as an incentive to get applications in so that we can start going through them. If you get them in early, it will not bump up your chances of admittance. So really the goal is to get all the applications in by January 7th, but we appreciate it greatly if you can get them in a little bit early since we have quite a few applications coming through the pike. We get about 800 applications every year. We fill a class of just over 300 students, and we always offer we admit more students than we have space for because we know that on average students are applying to 3 to 4 schools. They're applying to perhaps another independent school, another Catholic school, maybe they're looking at their local public school. So that's essentially how that piece of it works. Are there any other questions? All right, I'm sure that we may get some more people joining. We've been talking way too much. And we have our amazing panelists who are ready to talk to you. Please get your questions going. We really would love to hear from you. But today we have joining us all of our panelists who are 11th and 12th grade O'Dowd students. So I'm going to call on them and they're going to introduce themselves. They're going to share their name, the middle school they attended, and some of the activities that they're engaged in at O'Dowd. Why don't we start with Nike?
Hi everyone, my name is Nike. I am a senior, so I'm class of 2021, and I went to Edna Brewer Middle School. Some things that I'm in is I'm a captain of the Juggling Ambassador program. I do mock trial, and I play tennis.
Fabulous, thank you. Pierce, go for it.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pierce Medford. I'm also a senior at O'Dowd. I went to the Redwood Day School for middle school, and a few things that I do at O'Dowd are, like Nike, I'm the Juggling Ambassador captain. I play varsity soccer, and I'm also the co-founder of the Surf Appreciation Club.
Awesome, thanks, Pierce. Okay, Bella, you're on.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bella. I'm also a senior. I went to St. Paul's Episcopal School. A few things I'm involved with is I'm a health and wellness leader. I'm also the French club president, and I've played soccer.
Fabulous. Okay, Abby, you're next.
Hi, everybody. My name is Abby. I'm a junior at O'Dowd. I came from École Bilingue. It's a French bilingual school. And some things that I'm involved in at O'Dowd is I play tennis, track, and I'm also a Dragon Ambassador captain.
Thanks, Abby. All right, DJ.
Hello, everybody. My name is DJ. I'm a senior, and I came from Oakland School for the Arts. Some things that I'm involved in is I'm also a Dragon Ambassador captain. I play baseball, and I'm in the Aerospace Engineering Club.
Thanks, DJ. William.
Hi, everyone. My name is William. I'm a junior. I went to St. Paul's Episcopal School. Some things I do is I'm a Dragon Ambassador along with it being an admissions panelist. I play baseball, and I also frequently help in the living lab.
Great. Thank you so much, William. All right. My first question to our panel is, can you give a piece of advice to a student who's choosing a high school? What do you think the most important qualities are to look for in a high school as you're making this super important decision from middle school to high school? And why don't we start with Pierce?
All right, you're putting me on the spot there a little. I would say, I think for me, I really just wanted to go to a school where I could succeed and a school where I would feel welcome, and O'Dowd is really a school for that. I think it's really important to go to a school where you're accepted, where the teachers actually are interested in helping you, where you can get support. And I'd say also just attending a school with maybe a lot of school spirit if you're into that, but just with a school that offers activities that are interesting to you.
Great, thanks, Pierce. DJ, can you answer that?
Yeah, my piece of advice would be to pick a school where you're really comfortable at. For me, it was a big change of pace going to school in downtown Oakland and then switching to a campus like O'Dowd. But I felt really comfortable the first day I came to O'Dowd during Bow Wow and every time I visited. And I think it was the right choice. Now I'm still here. So it was really comfortable for me. I got to explore my interests more, I thought. So that was really the main thing that made me choose O'Dowd.
Awesome. Thanks, DJ. And Bella, why don't you finish that out?
Yeah, definitely. I think a student who's looking for a high school should look at the resources the school has to offer and what resources they think they'll need. So I'm a student who really likes to get hands-on, and I love science. So I really like to get hands-on, and O'Dowd really provides kind of the smaller classes that a lot of other schools don't offer. And I think that's really great because it gives me an opportunity to really get involved and really communicate with my teachers and pursue what I'm passionate about on a more hands-on level rather than a lecture-based.
Great, thank you so much. Abby, I'm wondering if you can talk about what it's like to be a non-Catholic at a Catholic school.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'm Jewish, and coming to O'Dowd, that was probably the thing that I was most worried about, was going to a Catholic school. not knowing what it was going to be like. And I'd say I'm also friends with a lot of people who aren't Catholic or have different religious beliefs. And it's a super welcoming place for everybody. No matter like whatever belief you have. There are a few things that are mandatory for people, such as Mass. We also have a few religion courses that you take throughout your 4 years. There's also a morning prayer, and those are some things that are not optional. However, even though these things are optional, you are free to kind of have your own beliefs. There's no pressure to, have any certain belief or anything like that. And so you don't have to be Catholic. There's also many ways that you can express your own religious beliefs through maybe clubs. I know there is a Jewish club. I'm sure there are also a ton of different clubs for different religious beliefs or languages. There's a French club, and there's also Multicultural Week, which is also super fun, and you're able to express yourself however you want. So yeah.
Great, thanks so much, Abby. Nikkei, I have a question for you. I'm wondering if you can share a little bit about your academic journey at O'Dowd and maybe 1 or 2 classes that have stood out for you.
Yeah, sure. It's been a long one. So as you know, I'm a senior, so I think my one class that I took that I was kind of scared is I took APUSH, which is like AP US History. You can't take that till junior year, but I took it and I was really scared because everyone was like, this is the hardest class, don't take it, you're not gonna do well. And I took it. I was like, I don't care, I'm gonna take it. And I did well. It was fun, and that was definitely a challenging class, and I felt good taking it and doing that. So that was really good for me. And another class that I think is English, because I really struggled at first with English and grammar, and I can definitely tell from my writing freshman year to me doing college apps now, the difference that made. I was reading some of the stuff I wrote freshman year, and I was that was, yeah, it was unfortunate. So now just seeing the progress I've made in English, that's really important for me. So I was proud of myself for that one too.
Great, thanks, Nikkei. William, I have a couple questions for you. I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about a challenge that you've had at O'Dowd and maybe how you overcame that challenge, or something that's been challenging for you.
One challenge that I had at O'Dowd in my freshman year is I thought that I was really good at Spanish, and then I took the placement test. I got placed into Spanish 1, so that was kind of a shock for me. But the great thing about O'Dowd is they're really supportive people, and my counselor was able to help me get into advanced Spanish 1, which now is putting me on track to take AP Spanish as a senior. And my counselor, Mr. Kohler, who's the head of the department, and other people helped me get there, which is really helpful. I think that's probably my biggest challenge.
Awesome, thank you. DJ, and maybe some of the other seniors, anyone can jump in, but DJ, I'll start with you. Can you talk a little bit about the college process and college counseling and maybe your journey from beginning to end a little bit? That's a really big question, so pick any part of that.
Okay, yeah. So the college process for me so far, in general, it's pretty crazy, but being at O'Dowd is being really helpful. My counselor, Ms. Jonty, it's open communication with her. When we were on campus, you can stop in any time and talk to her. I remember last year, I would literally run into her office and be like, oh my God, I want to apply to this school, what do I do? And she would sit down, take the time out of her day and explain to me what I should do to get into that school. And that was a really big piece of my college experience so far. And also, we also have nights like college night, which was really helpful because I was so stuck on going to a certain type of college that it really expanded my mindset of saying, oh, maybe I want to go to a smaller school instead of these big name schools. So the counseling department has been really helpful in that process.
Great. I don't know if Nikkei or Pierce or Bella want to jump in about college stuff.
Yeah, I can say a quick thing. I'm not gonna lie, the college process, it's crazy. There's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but I think without my counselors, if I didn't have my counselors, I would never be able to get through it. They really, again, they're support you so much. And we have also a bunch of different websites and things that we can research different colleges and do different scholarship things. So I think without the backbone of the counselors department, I don't think I would be able to do it. I can email my counselor and be can you look at this essay or this supplement or whatever, and she'll look at it. So I just think the counseling department for college is the best thing.
Great, thank you so much. I also want to open up the chat if you can. You're welcome to type your questions in if you have questions for our panelists, and we'll make sure that your questions get addressed tonight. I have another question. Can anyone share maybe a science trip or another trip that they've been on throughout their time at O'Dowd and how that happened, or how that worked in conjunction with your curriculum? Anyone in this group?
I can, Ms. Pincus Gallagher.
Great, thanks.
So I've taken a few trips with O'Dowd, but I think the most memorable one, or I guess the two most memorable ones I took were in correlation with my service learning and then in correlation with my history class. O'Dowd offers a lot of trips, but there's a class at O'Dowd called American Government Close Up that DJ and I actually took together sophomore year before school. And at the end of the trip, at the end of the fall semester, after learning about American government, we actually flew to DC and participated in the Close Up program with schools all across the country. And we really got to see the government that we were learning about. And it was just really, I guess, interesting and captivating to just hear what other people's thoughts were and what other people's thinking was about the government. And especially from people from across the country, because I mean, we all live in America. We all know what's going on right now. So I think that was really interesting. And then I also took a trip to West Virginia into the Appalachian Mountains as a part of a service learning trip to help out the community over there. And I think that was definitely very eye-opening, and seeing how our community at O'Dowd is very different in other places, and how O'Dowd can really bring their charism and their community into a place and make it better.
Great, thank you so much, Pierce. Anyone else want to add to that, or we're good? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, can I hop in?
Yeah.
Yeah. So to add on what Pierce said about the government trip, it was really beneficial to get outside of where you are every day and to get a perspective of what other people are thinking, like he said. And then I also had the opportunity to travel to Costa Rica for a science trip where we were studying leatherback sea turtles on the beach every night. And that was really exciting because it took what we learned in the classroom and like they just put it right in front of your face, like, okay, you read it in the textbook, here we go. And like you're diving in, you're taking the temperature, you're measuring sea turtles, and that was a great experience.
Great. Thank you so much, DJ. We're getting a whole bunch of questions that I can see. Someone asked, how early do we start the college process? And I really think it begins freshman year when students meet with their counselor before school even begins in August. And at that point, you're meeting with your counselor, you're discussing your course load, the kinds of classes you're taking. Sophomore year students then take a practice ACT. Junior year, they take a practice SAT. We also have a college fair that sophomores through seniors can join. And then when you are a junior or senior, we have multiple colleges that visit with our students throughout the fall semester so that students can engage with college admissions people from all over the country. So it really begins with just thinking about what are you interested in? How do you want to create your course schedules? I'd say as early as freshman year, you start thinking about it, but you don't really engage in an active process till the end of sophomore year, junior and senior year. Someone asked about juggling work and co-curriculars, whether you are on an athletic team or whether you're doing theater or debate. Students are very busy before and after school. Who'd like to jump in and answer that question, sort of about time management and juggling?
I can speak to that. Oh, sorry, William.
Why don't Ella and then William?
Sounds great. Yeah, so I definitely juggle several different things, and I've taken several advanced classes like honors and AP that you'll probably learn more about as you go through your high school experience. And I think one of the great things about O'Dowd is that teachers are very aware that students have lives and that they want to pursue stuff that they're interested in outside of an academic level, whether that's sports, theater, etc. Like everyone has things that they like really love to pursue. So time management is definitely something you learn in high school. It definitely takes some time. I struggled in the beginning. I was not on top of it. But one of the great things about O'Dowd is, like I said, teachers are very supportive. So learning to work with my teachers and even my classmates to really like get on track and make sure that, you know, I work ahead if I need a bit more time just because of an extracurricular or because, you know, it takes me a bit longer to read. I really work with my teachers, and it's definitely something that O'Dowd is really supportive of.
Great. William, you want to add to that?
So I'd say the best way that I juggle my time at O'Dowd is through the flex period. What the flex period is pretty much like a study hall or a free time period that is built into every single student's schedule. It's an hour and 20-minute block within our 4-period rotating schedule where people do things like stay on the quad or go in the annex. But I realized about halfway through freshman year, first semester, that I need to use that time to study and get my work done. So I would go to the library with Miss Counts and Miss Irwin, provide great resources and great quiet places to work. So with using that and coming to school earlier and going to the library, I was able to stay on track of my time. So I was never having to be late for baseball practice or late to other co-curricular activities because I got my work done earlier during the day. Another really special thing about having a block schedule is that you don't have the homework that you were just assigned the day after. So if you're on top of your time, you can almost never have work to do if you're doing it during the weekend or doing it the day that it's assigned. So that I really have systems put into place where you're not stressed out. You don't have to juggle too much because you're getting your work done before it's due.
Great, thank you. Anyone else want to jump in and answer that question, or you're good? Okay, I think we're good. Someone asked about a mentoring program. Do we have a buddy mentoring program? So anyone want to talk about coming in from middle school into freshman year and how you got adjusted to O'Dowd with Bow Wow and other things like that? And then this year, if you were a Dragon Lair leader, maybe you can speak about that. Can anyone in the panel speak about that? Okay, go ahead, Ab.
For sure. So I came from a really small school. I think my graduating class was about 28 kids. So coming to O'Dowd was pretty, stressful. I didn't know what I was going to do. I came with 2 other people. And so just coming through that whole system, I was a little bit nervous about making friends. And on the first week of school, the freshmen actually have, I think, 3 days that they are on campus alone and get to participate in activities and kind of icebreakers to get to know each other and really branch out. And, freshmen are going to talk to who they want. And that's just the beginning of the experience and the freshman experience. So you're going to make friends in classes. That's probably where I made most of my friends, in clubs, especially sports. If you guys are involved in sports or any, art classes or, anything, clubs, I definitely hope that you guys are able to experience some of that at O'Dowd, because that is where you're going to make some of the lasting memories and memories that I've made. So yeah.
Was anyone a Dragon Lair leader this year? Bella, you want to talk a little bit about that? And Pierce,
Yeah.
Too?
Yeah, so I was a Dragon Lair leader, which basically means I met once a week with the freshmen. It was me, another Dragon ambassador, and a group of freshmen. And we basically it was a 10-minute check-in. It started off a little bit longer. We met earlier on for a bit longer. And then it was kind of just a check-in to see how the week's going. And then I helped them a lot with things that were kind of harder to get involved with while being online. So I sent them club lists. One of the great things about being a senior is that a lot of the clubs are run by upperclassmen. So you know everybody and you know who runs what. So it was really great for me to be like, oh, you're interested in the Surf Appreciation Club? Oh, let me talk to Pierce. Pierce can definitely get you involved with that. So I was definitely kind of a mentor in that aspect. And yeah.
Yeah, definitely adding on to that. Our main role as a layer leader was just to help these incoming freshmen get acclimated to the school, which is really hard to do while we're online and while everybody's in their room at home. And so I think our main purpose was just to get the freshmen to meet other freshmen and to really get to know each other and make new friendships and kind of, I guess, some way make up for what they weren't getting if we were at school.
Great, thank you so much. One of the questions I just got, on average, how much homework do you have on average per night? Who'd like to jump in and answer that? Okay, Nike, and then William.
I honestly think it depends. There's not like a definitive answer. Like I can say I have like an hour or so, but I think it depends on the classes that you're taking. It depends on how your time management is. Because like for this year, you could sometimes get like all of your homework and all of your classwork done before the end of the day. So I think it definitely depends on how you work. And I think you know how you work. So, but I think max like 3 hours for like freshman year.
Anyone else have a different answer or want to add to that? William, go for it.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that, where it's very varied. But one of the beauties of O'Dowd is you get to take a variety of classes, and these classes are harder or easier. I'd say that with my freshman experience, I took honors geohistory, honors geometry, and honors English. So I had a pretty substantial amount of homework. I feel like Odell did a great job preparing me for that by slowly easing me into the workload. And I had friends who took regular classes, regular English, Algebra 1, and they had less homework. So it's really just a class-to-class basis. Some days, if you have big projects, you have more homework. Some days you have less homework. I'd say I'm never working late into the night at 11, 12 p.m. But there are days where I'm going to be working later to do my homework. And sometimes I offset that by using before school time or flex time. So I'm never really stressed out.
Okay, great. I know Mrs. Bruin is also fielding some questions, so I'm going to ask her to jump in. Any questions you want to direct to our Dragon Ambassadors?
You know, I think I've got it, and this could be asking you to go way back in time, but there was a question about filling out your applications and what that experience was like for you in writing your essays. So maybe a piece of advice that you could give our applicants as they write their essays.
Okay, Bella, Pierce, and then William.
I remember writing my essays very vividly. I had a major surgery 8th grade, so it was definitely a bit more crammed for me. But I guess one piece of advice I would say is really use the resources that you have and take your time. So don't try to cram it in one night and get it all done. Really spread it out. Go have your English teacher look it over, have your parents look it over. If you have a friend's parent who's an English teacher, have them look it over. Really take your time with it and make sure you show your true self. You don't want to try to make someone up that you're not, or also not include stuff that make you who you are. Because I think that's something O'Dowd really looks for, is you and who you really are.
Yeah, just adding on to what Bella said, I think the most important thing is O'Dowd really just wants to know who you are. And so just writing down, I guess, expressing who you are, some of your ideas, some of the activities you like to do. O'Dowd's not going to look at your application and say, oh, you play lacrosse, you can't come here. That's not what's going to happen. They want to know, they want to get to know you basically. And I think it's really just the same thing with college apps, but I won't stress that. You guys still have 4 more years. So I think just the biggest piece of advice is be true to yourself. And I mean, you guys are in 8th grade, you might not really know who you are yet as a person, but I guess try to write down and try to express kind of who you think you want to be and who you are right now.
Great. William, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, I want to add, is it the same, like the 4 paragraphs that was when we applied? Okay, so one thing I think is the most important is spacing out and timing these 4 paragraphs, because they all have something different. They all require something different to say. So what I did was I had drafts, I looked over each draft, and then I went back and did my final draft. And something I was really blessed with was having a family friend who was an editor, but it was also really important to get help from my English teacher and other people, because our parents are very helpful, but sometimes they also want to start writing the essay for you. And you want the high school admissions people to be from you and yourself and how you express yourself. So it's important to get help and also speak from your perspective, but do it with time and accuracy so you're not rushing at the end.
Thank you, William. I could not have said it better. That was a very excellent response to that question. Yeah, look at the questions. If you have questions about how to answer it, you can also email me. I know that in my sessions that I have with students, I talk about that first question, which really speaks about the charism, which is essentially our school statement. You don't have to write about every piece of the charism, but maybe pick one element that really resonates you. Maybe community and diversity. Maybe it's something that brings you joy. Maybe it's your commitment to social justice and how you'd like to get involved if you're not involved yet. So you can kind of take whatever creative spin you like with that first question, and that gives us a sense of, you know, what you value and what you are like. We are going to close out because I know there's a science session that starts at 5:20. So I'm going to close out by asking each ambassador, and Mrs. Bruin, you have a question?
I do. A question that came through the chat, and sorry to jump in.
Fine, go for it.
Yeah, if our students could talk, and I'm not sure who exactly wants to take this one, I'm sure all of you can, asking about our LGBTQ students and how they're accepted on our campus, and if we have a student club for that group. So which one of the ambassadors would like to chat about that?
Bella and then Nike, go for it.
I can speak to it. I'm not sure if there's a club, but I have many friends who are part of that community. And it is definitely one thing about O'Dowd is that everyone's very supportive and everyone's very open. And like one thing I definitely know is that there's no one who actively hates or like anything like that. Like a lot of people are very supportive. I know during the Pride Parade, everyone goes, like you see a bunch of O'Dowd students. And I think that kind of plays into a lot of aspects of O'Dowd, of everyone being very supportive and wanting to get involved, whether they're a part of that community or just want to support that community. And so I think there's a lot of supports for students a part of the LGBTQIA plus community. I may have messed that up a little bit, but there's a lot of support at O'Dowd for students, no matter who they are.
Thanks, Bella. Nikkei, you want to add to that?
Yeah, it was just quick. I just definitely agree with everything you said, Bella. I'm almost positive there's a JSA club too that we have. So if you like, anyone can join. And yeah, just again, the support. Everyone is so supportive of everyone and everyone's differences at O'Dowd. So yeah.
Yeah, we have a Unity Club on campus, and our Unity Club supports our LGBTQ plus community, as well as those who want to join as people who are supportive allies of that community. It's a place for students to have a safe place to talk. And I would say that whether you're a part of our Black Student Union, our Jewish Club, our Muslim Club, our Asian Student Alliance, our Filipino Club, whatever affinity group you are a part of, there is a place for you to express yourself and a place for you to share and be supported. And that is a really big part of O'Dowd and why our community it's vital that we admit students with character traits that exemplify parts of themselves that can bring themselves to community in a supportive way. So that's really, really important. We're going to close out, and some of you may log out early to join science, which begins at 5:20, and then math at 5:45. I'll be hosting a parent panel at 6:10. So you're welcome to stay on for another 2 minutes or log off to join those other Zoom calls. But my final question to all of you, and each of you can answer this, is if you could share one thing that you love about O'Dowd and one thing that you maybe would change about O'Dowd. And I know that's a risky question because I have no idea what you're going to say, but I do want you to be honest and transparent in your answers. So who'd like to start? Anyone? Okay, Bella, go for it.
Okay. One thing I love about O'Dowd is definitely the community and the opportunities. O'Dowd has a lot of like opportunities as you go on 3 or 4 years for you to get involved in things you're interested in, and maybe, I guess, academically like a bit like step away from things you're not as interested in. So like as a senior, math is not required. I enjoy math, so I take it, but I know a lot of people don't and they don't take it, but I take science classes because that's something I'm interested in. And there's a lot of places for you to pursue your opportunities and things you're interested in. In terms of something that I wish O'Dowd could work on, that's a very difficult question because there's a lot of things that I love about O'Dowd. I guess in some aspects, the mental health resources, but that is something that, you know, is personal to me, and that's something that I work on with O'Dowd, and they're definitely taking steps in the right direction. I'm a health and wellness leader, which basically means I promote mental and physical health on campus. And O'Dowd is really understanding and really supportive. So having this this is kind of a new student leadership group is definitely a way O'Dowd is growing and becoming more supportive and more accepting for students who are struggling with their mental health.
Thank you so much, Bella. William, go for it.
I'd say one of my favorite things about O'Dowd is that there's a place for everyone. If that means playing sports in the classroom, in the quad. I don't know anyone at O'Dowd who doesn't feel welcome or doesn't feel like there's a place for them. And something that's also really important to me is the diversity of the students. And I don't think I've ever been to a school there's so many different types of people on the campus, getting to learn from other people's different cultures, socioeconomic backgrounds, their religions. I think it's really powerful. Something I'd like to improve, which I talk about a lot, is the diversity of the staff. There are not a lot of Black teachers. There are, I think, even fewer Latino teachers. And I wish that there was more Black teachers where there was more shared experience. But I'm working with the Racial Justice Group and Ms. Wakely to improve that. So we're taking steps in the right direction. I wish those steps would go a little bit quicker.
Thanks, William. Abby, go for it.
Thank you. So probably my favorite part about O'Dowd is also just the community, all the different classes you're able to take. You can strive academically. I also love playing sports in the community within the sports. As I said, I play tennis, so just having that community to kind of relax and focus on other things other than school is awesome. And also something that I would change, also it's very difficult to say or think of, but maybe communications between the school and its students, not based on like the news of the school, but all of its resources. ODOUD has some amazing resources that not maybe all the students are aware of yet. So I think that could improve. But I do love the school and I'm extremely happy to be here.
Thanks, Abby. Nike.
Okay, so yeah, something that I really like about ODOUD is like the community that we have. And again, as everyone was saying, we're just very welcoming. And I think I found like a couple of like my best friends here. So just like having that opportunity, and it really feels like a family, like for real. So that's one of the things I love about ODOUD. Something that I don't like as much is probably the like academic competitiveness, if that makes any sense. Like being a senior now, like a couple years ago, I didn't really realize it now, but like being a senior and just like seeing everyone like apply to colleges and stuff, just like the way like we're like held, I guess, and how everyone's like fighting for different spots, and just like that's like for like colleges and stuff. So maybe not as academically competitive in that way.
Thank you, Nike. Thanks for being so honest. Pierce.
I think the thing that I love most about ODOUD is just the energy that you feel on campus. As soon as I walk onto campus, I can feel it in the morning. Everyone's super excited to be there. The teachers actually want to be there. I know I was talking to my Spanish teacher the other day, and he told me, yeah, I live in Marin. And I was saying, you drive like an hour to school, twice a day? That must be horrible. He said, I love teaching at ODOUD. And so that's what I love about ODOUD. I love how everybody who's there actually wants to be there. And then I think the thing that I don't like about ODOUD is probably maybe just the size of the campus in relation to the amount of students. I remember coming here freshman year, and I think it doesn't really feel like there are 1,200 students, but I think sometimes like if you're trying to find a parking spot for a game, if you're walking down the hallways, things can get a bit crowded. But I think when they build the new building, I think some of that will dissipate, and there should be, I guess, more of a flow through campus. So even though I won't be here, I'm excited for the new building for when it's ready.
That's great. Thanks, Pierce. And DJ, you're going to close us out.
Yeah, definitely my favorite thing about ODOUD, hands down, is the people. Coming to school every day, seeing your friends, maybe people you don't even know, faculty. I love seeing everybody on campus, and it's really welcoming when you see everybody's faces. The thing that I would really like ODOUD to work on would probably be like expanding programs like peer tutoring or Dragon Success. I know some of those programs are pretty hard to get into, or even there's like peer tutoring is a pretty small room, so sometimes not everybody can get in there during their flex period. But I feel like expanding that would help a lot more kids who maybe want to go to peer tutoring, but there's too many people in there, so they just rather sit on the quad.
Great. Thank you so much. I think that was incredibly helpful. The goal of tonight's session is to just give you lots more information as you go through the high school process. And hopefully you learned a little bit more about ODOUD. I think the more you attend our sessions and you visit with the various sessions, you will get more information to make that discernment process. And my piece of advice to all of you before we head out is to, first of all, thank our incredible Dragon ambassadors for joining us tonight. Thank you for spending so much time with us and being patient. They never know what I'm going to ask them. I literally meet with them for like 15 minutes, and I know that they're going to answer my questions really well because they're just an incredible group of students. So thank you for letting me throw out lots of questions at you, and I really appreciate that. That was awesome. And my one piece of advice is really, as you're looking at high schools, the most important thing is to find a community that you feel that you can be successful in, whether that's academically or socially. You need to feel stimulated academically and successful. You need to find peer connections so that you have peer support and peer moral support. And a place to land when you are at school, because you're going to be spending a lot more time at school in high school than you did in middle school, and a place that you feel really safe, and a place where you can be yourself. And so those are the key elements in finding a right school. There are so many great choices out there. There are so many places that offer excellent academics. And so I wish you well as you do your search, and my door is open, my email is open. All of us in admissions, Trisha, Moray, and myself are here to help you through the process. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you back at 6:10 if you'd like to join the parent panel, but go check out Math and Science. Thanks so much, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.